The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 6th day of June, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Tamara McHale will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, I have kind of a cool announcement. Oh, yes, it's just me today. Don't worry. Sherry? No. Nope. Sancha? Nope. I keep talking, it's just me. Yeah, they left me alone. And you know what happens when they leave me alone, folks? You know what happens when they leave me alone? Woo. Ain't nobody here to stop what's coming today. All right? But anyway, I have a very cool announcement that I'll share with everyone in a few. Very cool announcement. And the reason it's a cool announcement is because I just realized it during the intro, but this is one of the coolest announcements we've had since we started the show. Oops, Sancha almost heard me talking nice about her. Very cool announcement. I'll give it to you in a second, but greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome the director of the Bermuda Weather Service, Michelle Pitcher, on to discuss the 2023 hurricane season. The daily play is a remember when. So here's one cool thing. Since everyone ditched me today, whoever gets today's daily play right first, whoever fills out the right answer that shows up on my end first, will receive a little prizey gift. We'll let you know what that is later. All right. Also, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Now, real quickly, let's get into it. Good morning, Sister Sanchez. See, that's what I'm talking about. So nice. So, folks, here's some good news. Great news. What I would love everyone to do right now, regardless of where you're watching from, go on to thedailyhour.com. The first person to tell me what's new on thedailyhour.com, you're getting a $50 gift voucher. First person, this is it. We're going to play a little game. The first person, and it can't be Sancha, Sherry, or Larry, or Phil, or Maya. All right, I'm going to rule them out early. But the first person to go on thedailyhour.com and see what the real cool feature is that as of this morning, you can now do on the dailyhour.com website. Let us know, and you'll be getting a really cool gift. How's that? First part, we're giving away things today. See, when it's just me, I'm the nice one. You all think I'm the bad person. I'm the nice one. I'm talking about giveaways. 2 giveaways today. I didn't get permission, but 2 giveaways. Live feed. Well, we've always had the live feed. What about the live feed? The live feed's always been on the website, Traveling Trotty. What about the live feed? What about the live feed? Who is it going to be? Tell us what's new, what's different on our website, thedailyhour.com. Live feed is a hint. Somebody's got to get it. We want to give you something. There you go, Nicole. Walk us through winner. Folks, as of this morning, you can now participate in the live chat directly on our website. Any of you want to test it, feel free to just write on our website and test it. But you can now comment on our website. You no longer need social media. You no longer need a a social media account. You no longer need to go and find us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, whatever platform you use. As of this morning, you can now engage live and directly on our website. Nicole Walker, we will get you a $50 gift voucher to whatever one of our partners you'd like. So please send us an email, engage@thedailyhour.com. Yes, Sean DeShields, you are correct. Aaron Smith, you got it. Michelle White, you got it. And good morning to you, Sherry Vanderpool. And Angeline Butler's the first one to do it. Cool stuff. So yes, you can chat directly to us on the website as of today. Sherry doesn't trust me, so it's talking about behave. So yeah, this is cool. So again, you no longer need, here's the thing, and this is just me being vulnerable and honest with the audience. So the challenge with social media is that the more you grow, the more the algorithms work against you. And so the algorithms working against you means that if you follow us on Facebook or YouTube and you have the notifications, it still won't allow you to get the alerts that we're live. So for instance, many of you may follow us on Facebook and you don't get the alerts anymore. Many of you may follow us, be members on YouTube. You may have hit the notification and not get the alerts. That's the algorithms working against us. However, if you put in your calendar every morning, thedailyhour.com, go on that website, you now can engage live. $50 for Nicole Walker. I'm going to give one more. Before we get into today's discussion, which is a good one, I'm going to do one more. This is for $25. Can anyone tell me what's in my background? Try to get Sancha to help me, but she didn't have time for me yesterday. But can anyone tell me what's in my background that's not easy on the eye? Tell me, what's in the background? First person, $25 to you. $25 to you. Morning, nephew Maddox. Have a good day at school. Maddox out there. Yes, Hamilton Harbor's there, but that's not what I'm talking about. What is it? It's not easy on the eye. What can you see? What else can you see in the picture? Everyone sees the city of Hamilton, Front Street. Everyone sees that. Everyone sees that. That's the one that's easy to see. There you go, Jamaica. The Gumbays. If you look closely, yes, Aaron. Aaron got it. Yes, you all got awesome. You all are awesome. You can, if you look carefully, there are Gumbays in the picture. Thanks for nothing, Sancha. So Jamaica Smith got it first on my end, so we'll get you $25. So real quickly, let's jump into today's conversation. And don't forget, because I don't have, none of my colleagues showed up today, they ditched me. We're going to give you a $25 gift voucher out of their pay to the first person who gets the daily play today. So you don't want to miss the daily play. But yes, in my background, it is Front Street, the skyline of Hamilton. But if you look very carefully, it's the Gumbays in there. So there are Gumbays transparent over them. Look very hard, and you will see the Gumbays. All right. So there was a story. We're not going to talk about this, but there was a story that I want you all to go look and read up, and we may get into it in subsequent episodes. But the SEC filed 13 charges against Binance, and I believe it's pronounced Zhao Changpeng. Now, if you're not familiar, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, according to the Royal Gazette, have charged Binance Holdings Limited and its founder, Zhao Changpeng, with a variety of security law violations. Now, according to the Royal Gazette, David Brett, the premier of Bermuda, hailed it a historic day for the island in April 2018 as he signed a memorandum of understanding, the MOU, with Mr. Zhao and the global cryptocurrency trader in the Cabinet Office conference room. So just wanted to put that out there. Do what you want with that information, but that's an interesting situation. The question of the morning, though, and we had it up on our Instagram, we have to have a conversation because over the last 2 days, and it all happened, and it's the way the Royal Gazette puts out the stories, but went down in the House of Assembly Friday. But we saw that the government's basically said, we discussed it yesterday, 28 million more to the Bermudiana resort. Now, they're looking for people, according to the Royal Gazette, right? Morgan's Point RFP for architects and support have been issued, right? Now, if my memory doesn't fail me, and correct me if I'm wrong, the PLP continue to use the Morgan's Point situation under the OBA as what not to do. And so the question of the morning is very simple. What should be done with the Morgan's Point land? What should be done? Now, I'm going to share with you what I actually suggested to a former premier. And I've said it on this show before. I suggested to a former premier that instead of building more hotels or another hotel, mind you, we need one now, but instead of building another hotel, let's create a city, a town, right? Let's create restaurants and stores, and let's create a film industry, like Bermuda's in Hollywood. Like, let's create a tech space. Like, it's a lot of land up there where we can do a lot. We can take the the docks and move them from Front Street, Hamilton, and move them up there, and then probably have a waterfront hotel right down in the city next there. Again, I'm no genius. I'm just saying, why do we have to give it all just to a hotel property? Now, let's go to the Instagram and let's share some of these responses, because I'm gonna tell you, you all who participate on Instagram, you're freaking awesome, man. You gave the work, man. You gave the work. So Instagram, the question is the same. What should be done with the Morgan's Point land? Now, the reason that's the question, folks, is the government has initiated a search for architects and support service providers as it moves to begin the revitalization of Morgan's Point. The Royal Gazette states a request for proposal published last week stated that Morgan's Point Development Company was seeking prospective proponents to submit proposals for architectural design and support services for the project. So that's what I guess they're looking to get some people and spend some money on it, right? So let's just go to some of the responses on Instagram. So on Instagram, we got let's see. No, that's Sancha. So what should be done with the Morgan's Point land? Well, someone says, not enough room to type. Invite me on the show to discuss. Well, first off, you're welcome on the show every day to discuss it. Like Michelle White and Sam Cat Place and Rosalind Famous and Sheldon Fox and Charles Jeffers and Trevor Trotty and Shonda Shields and Aaron Smith. You get my point. You get my point. All right. Another person says, whatever is decided, the government needs to stay out of the way. They're not good at anything infrastructure-wise. I mean, I think we'd all agree that the government needs to stay out of the way. Another person, I actually like this idea. I like this idea because it kind of happened with Southlands, if I'm not mistaken. This person says, offer it to GenCom. They can build their residential units there instead of South P or Government Quarry. That's a good idea, huh? Right? They're not taking away land up on Fairmount Southampton property. That's what happened with Southlands. They wanted to build down in Southlands, right? Developers wanted to build at Southlands, and then they said, no, let's move to Morgan's Point. So it can happen, right? I think that's a consideration. What are your thoughts, audience? Another person, what should be done with the Morgan's Point land? Another person says, this is great. Build a multi-purpose convention center. Telling you from being in tourism and being to conferences and events and conventions, Bermuda would do well, especially with the convention hotel closed. Could be an opportunity. I would say build a couple of multi-purpose facilities. Another person says, this is a good one, amphitheater with shops and hotels and residential buildings. Well, I think that's kind of along the lines where I was going as well. Some shops, some amphitheaters. Folks, what are your thoughts? What do you think should be done with the land at Morgan's Point? What should be done with the Morgan's Point land up there? We've got Michelle White. She says Morgan's Point should be converted into a community, but built by an entity that can actually finish it. It will need to have a body to manage it. The challenge, Michelle, with that is rich people don't use their own money. So it all depends on the economy and bank lending rates and all that stuff. That's the challenge. It's so strange that rich people don't use their own money. No one sees anything crazy about that picture. Sam Cat Place says that's what they were going to do for the rich regarding that little town, Jamel. What do you mean? Like Sam, because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, audience, correct me if I'm wrong, when the PLP first one came to power in 1998, there were suggestions or opportunities, and the then PLP under Dame Jennifer Smith, again, I could be wrong, but this is what I believe I remember reading, rejected it because they basically didn't want another Tucker's Town. I'm not saying build another Tucker's Town. I'm not saying build something for the rich and rich. Build something. Look, I'm a believer if you start with community, you grow from there, right? Build something for the community to be a part of, to enjoy. What they say, if you don't take care of home, you can't take care of anyone else, right? But what are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts? Again, great suggestions on Instagram, a convention center, amphitheater, offer the land to GenCom to build their residential units. Again, they wouldn't be, I don't think best would be as opposed to that, or at least they shouldn't be. But what are your thoughts? What do you believe should be done with the Morgan's Point land? Michelle White, to my point earlier, says rich people only get richer. But, well, they use other people's money, right? Samcat Place says, that's what the latest plans were. They reintroduced it to get our approval. Okay. Yes, that's what you mean. So how do you feel about that, folks? Like, how do you feel about another Tucker's Town, per se, another elite area? If it were to help Bermuda, would you be okay with it? Like, I don't think we need another one. I think we have one too many, personally. I just think that that land is an opportunity to really and truly grow Bermuda. I think we need to have some of our most creative people in a room, lock them in a room, and come out with about 5 to 10 suggestions. And from those, you whittle them down, take a little from each, and you go with what you believe is best. I just think we've been down the hotel road before, and look where we are. I told you all, when I was in the BTA, when I was in Bermuda Tourism, we went up there for a tour when they were building the fractional units, or whatever they're called, conduit, whatever they call them, right? And they were saying, oh, the hotel will be open in 2018. Now, this was 2016, 2015, 2017. Oh, the Ritz will be opening in 2018. That's what they kept saying back then. And me, Mr. Miserable, Mr. Question Everything, I was like, but we've seen this before. We've seen this. They're building the units first before the hotel. Yes, Jamel, but that's how they make them. But we've seen this, and then no hotel comes. Well, folks, they didn't even get to finish the units. And my greatest concern with this, I keep telling you, I don't believe, if you look, just share this with you, in Arizona, just outside Phoenix, is it called Tempe or Tempe? They just rejected like a $2 billion plan from the Arizona Coyotes, which is the NHL, the hockey team there, right? To build a basically $2 billion stadium, which again would have been on the taxpayers. Those are the kind of referendums we need in Bermuda. The people should be voting and deciding whether their money goes to more investment into the Bermudiana Resort, into Morgan's Point. I don't know how you feel. I know we have a Westminster system, but wouldn't you feel like you deserve more control? Don't you feel like you deserve more of a say of how your taxpayers' dollars are being spent? I don't know the answers, but I tell you what, I'm not comfortable with the government continuing to go the route of using taxpayers' dollars on hotel properties. I'm sorry. Charles H. Jeffs II says, question again, folks, what should be done with the Morgan's Point land? He says, offer it to an entity like Disney, who can build an experience for their cruise visitors and sell day passes to locals and other visitors. This will create jobs and much needed marketing support. Well, Charles makes a great point. If you don't live under a rock, Disney just pulled out of bringing one of their campuses to Florida. It was going to be outside Orlando. And because of the political climate with the governor Ron DeSantis and Disney, they pulled out. Now, what that would have meant for the economy, folks, let me give you an idea of what tourism means for the economy. When not tourism, but business. When businesses relocate, it creates jobs, not just for those who work for that company, but these people need to go grocery shopping. They need places to live, to rent. They're going to be paying electricity bills. They'll be buying groceries. They'll be going out to restaurants. They'll be taking flights in and out of Bermuda. So you're literally improving your economy in about 10 different ways right there. I love that idea, Charles H. Jeffers II. I love that idea. A company like Disney is probably looking for somewhere warm to take their things to. Morgan's Point could be an opportunity. Or maybe that's not the kind of tourist. Well, I don't know what kind of tourist Bermuda's looking for right now. Samcat Place says we need a multifaceted area with what I'm not sure, because we have so many areas of Bermuda tourism and retail struggling. And I think the thing is, Sam, it's a lot in what you just said. We need to figure out who we are. We need to figure out who we're targeting. We need to figure out pretty much what are we selling? What are we selling? What kind of experience are we selling? I don't disagree. Again, I love the ideas. My three favorites so far is obviously offer it to GenCom to build their units over at Morgan's Point. I think that is a great compromise. The second one I like is a convention center, building a convention center. I love that idea. And I also, a multi-purpose convention center, sorry. And I love the amphitheater idea. But also, Charles, I appreciate that. Disney, seek companies that are looking to invest in places, right? Seek those kind of companies. They are out there. Disney is a monster. Imagine what they can do with that land. Imagine the opportunities for Bermudians. Now, all that to say, keep in mind, I'm speaking from the outside. Who's to say the government of Bermuda hasn't tried that, haven't attempted that? Who's to say they don't have people in the rooms doing that right now? We don't know. What I will say is, I think we need to be a bit more broad in our thinking. I think we need to not be so narrow when thinking of what we can do and the potential. I'm going to be honest. I am envious when I see movies being made in Bahamas or Jamaica, different places, because I'm like, well, what about Bermuda? That's why one of my ideas was create an entertainment space where movies can be made up there. What they have in India, Bollywood. Let's have our own Bermuda. I know, corny, but you get my point. Let's create something. I just don't want Bermuda to be in the same position over and over and over again. And what is that position? That position is investing the people's money into hotels and developments that don't come to fruition and therefore cost the people and don't benefit the people. That's my concern. Folks, important conversation coming up. Again, don't forget, we've already given away 2 winners. Nicole Walker won the first prize today. She's gotten a $50 voucher. Angeline Butler, please send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com as well. You won the second prize by seeing the gum bait in my background. We have another gift prize given away later. We'll give away a prize for the first person who guesses the answer to today's Daily Play. And anyone who was born before 1990 should know the answer to this. All right. So that's a hint for today's Daily Play. Everyone should know it. We've got a gift for you. So don't go anywhere. Very important conversation coming up with Michelle Pitcher today. We're talking hurricane season. So, and I'm glad for this conversation. Every year we have it. But folks, I saw people on Twitter, and obviously Twitter's not a good place to read people, right? Because people, it's Twitter. But people saying, oh, thankfully, it's going to be an average hurricane season. Thankfully, it's going to be an average hurricane season. Do you even know what that means? That doesn't mean there's not going to be hurricanes, and that doesn't mean that one won't hit us where we are. Like, I think we need to understand that average, maybe that just means there won't be as much activity. That doesn't mean that the slight activity still won't impact us. So glad we have a person coming on that can educate us and help us. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere. Let's bring in Tamara McHale for today's Daily Hour News Break.
Good morning. Hi, Jamal.
Greetings. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Realize you're by yourself.
Oh, yes. And I ain't got no trouble yet. So it's going well.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So tell me something. It's been raining a lot in Bermuda lately. I mean, crazy. You got potholes everywhere and so on. Have you been getting like unusual rain down in Jamaica?
Incidentally, last week we did. We had some days because it was super hot, and then we started getting rains. Like, for example, last Friday, we had rain for the entire day, like heavy rains all day. And so it's been on and off. It's been on and off. We were told like yesterday was very bright and sunny. Today still is hot, but at the same time, we've been told to expect rain later on this week. So we will see.
All right. Thank you. Real quick. No, it was not Angelina that answered the question. It was Jamaica Smith. Thank you, Angeline, for your honesty. We appreciate you. But look at Angeline. See, you heard the announcement earlier tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so Angeline, she's actually commenting from the website. You can now comment directly from the website if you're not on social media. So this is a cool thing. So if you got questions for Michelle Pitcher, our guest later, and you don't have social media, you can now comment directly on the website. We have the chat going. So what you got today for us in the news break?
All right. Thank you, Jamel. Good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News Break for today, Tuesday, June 6th, brought to you by the People's Pharmacy. So you mentioned a bit about this story at the start, and that's where we're starting this morning about the news that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has filed 13 charges against Binance, the world's top crypto exchange, as well as its billionaire co-founder and CEO, Changpeng Zhao, who is widely known as CZ. Now, this news has actually made the rounds on the international scene so far, and they're saying that it is the latest in a string of actions being taken against crypto companies. So in this specific lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, the SEC accused Zhao and his company of misleading investors about Binance's ability to detect market manipulation, as well as of misusing customer funds and allegedly sending some of that money to a company controlled by CZ, among other charges. But what does that mean for Bermuda? Well, according to the Gazette Now, David Burt, the premier, had actually signed a memorandum of understanding with that company back in 2018. At the time, he said it was a historic agreement, and the firm had promised to invest millions of dollars into the island, as well as provide numerous jobs and develop blockchain technology. So, interesting times ahead.
Oh boy. Continue. I don't have anything to say on that. Nope, not doing it.
I like your mug that you're sipping your tea from.
Yep.
Okay. All right. In other news, Minister of Youth, Culture and Sport, the Honorable Owen Darrell, yesterday he had a press conference on Monday giving an update on the National Sports Center upgrade. So according to the minister, the island is far behind in the project. Here's a quick clip about that.
How far are we behind in the project?
We are significantly behind, but I would tell you, we did come through a pandemic. As you can see on a day like today in the last 2 weeks, weather has been an issue. As you would know, to change LED lights on poles that are hundreds of feet in the air, safety is a major concern. Also, as I did mention in the briefing, supply chain issues are significant. So if you talk to anyone in public works, in the construction industry, where you and I and anyone outside of construction may think that, a delay could be weeks. Delays in some cases are taking up to a year. So the delays are a little farther than we would like, but that is why I'm coming today to give a full transparent briefing.
Oh, delays happen. Delays happen. I'll leave it at that.
Somebody's behaving well.
You see what happens when I'm alone?
I know.
This guy, right? See, I'm not going there. No, delays happen.
Jamel is behaving. Wow. Okay. Well, we did mention that today we're going to be discussing all things hurricane, and this is related to that. Belco is advising that with the hurricane season having started on June 1, the company has and will be taking all the necessary steps to prepare should the island be impacted by a storm this season, and it's encouraging the public to prepare as well, specifically as preparations pertain to the trimming of trees. So a spokesperson said ensuring that trees on a private property remain 10 feet away from power lines is the sole responsibility of property owners. Trimming trees at least 10 feet back from power lines in advance of the approach of any storms will prevent branches from pulling down power lines and even entire utility poles, which of course poses a serious hazard. And also that could impact electricity being lost during the storm. So they're advising that should property owners wish to trim their trees, they have to schedule actually a temporary disconnection for tree trimming safety. And they can call Belco at 295-5111. That is 295-5111. Or email treetrimming@belco.bm 3 weeks in advance.
Treetrimming@belco.bm. You know, I just learned something yesterday that they have also an email address, potholes@gov.bm. I'm being serious, folks. There's an email for potholes. So if you know there's a pothole in the area that you're driving and you feel unsafe, send an email to potholes@gov.bm. Let me just double check. I found that I ain't never heard of such, but I mean, credit to them, I guess.
I know we that line. If we had that email in Jamaica, it would be bombarded.
Potholes@gov.bm. You heard it here first. What else you got for us?
And on a softer, or should I say a sweeter note, Hamilton Princess and Beach Club and Lily Bermuda's collaborative fragrance Island Rose has been named the best hotel scent by fashion magazine Elle Magazine. They describe the scent as a representation of what a vacation in Bermuda would be like. So according to Nerisha Penrose, beauty commerce editor for Elle Magazine, she said of the perfume, there's a hint of citrus that peeks through the bed of florals. It's a fresh floral fragrance. And according to the people at Hamilton, they said that they are very pleased. So that's Tim Morrison, general manager for Hamilton Princess and Beach Club. He said, we're very pleased to receive this wonderful recognition by a global fashion magazine.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Looking forward to having Lily Bermuda on to discuss that as well.
All right, and let me quickly wrap it up with a bit of regional news. So this is unfortunate, but the death toll from the heavy floods that hit Haiti over the weekend has risen to 42 and counting, with another 11 people missing, authorities said yesterday. At least 85 people are injured and more than 13,600 homes were flooded, forcing people to evacuate, according to Haiti's Civil Protection Agency. And the rains pelted Haiti's western, northwestern, southeastern, and central regions, according to officials.
Very sad to hear. I'm going to say it. And again, I know this is political, but I guess global warming is real. I mean, at least in some places.
Definitely.
Like the earth. But anyway, go ahead.
And in the weather today in Bermuda, you're going to be having some early clouds, but things are expected to become brighter by afternoon. High near 24 degrees Celsius or 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Here in Jamaica, it's currently bright and sunny, but our Met Service has warned that we could have potential showers and thunderstorms across eastern parishes later on in the day.
All right. Well, you know what? I gotta get a days of the year for everyone. So let me check days of the year, because Nobody helped me. They didn't tell me I had to take this part of the.
Well, today is the 6th of the 6th. I don't know if that means anything.
What that mean? Help me
I
out.
have no idea.
All right. So that means it's June 6th. At least I know that much now, right? So let's see. What's the day, folks? No, that's not. No. Well, no. Okay. Here's one. In the U.S., it's National Yo-Yo Day. Did you ever have a yo-yo, Tamara?
My cousins did. Yeah,
Okay.
that was so cool. And then they threw it up and down.
Yeah, it's weird, but apparently the history of National Yo-Yo Day, historians believe that yo-yos have been around for at least 2,000 years and were known under different names such as quizzes and bandolores. It is believed that the origin of the yo-yo started from the Philippines, and the earliest entry of the word appears in a Filipino dictionary in the 1860s. So interesting. National Yo-Yo Day. I mean, I had no coordination with anything. So I would have hurt somebody with that. So yeah, that's me.
And I don't think these little kids these days play yo-yo. Everybody's just on their tablets.
Well, this is true. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen a yo-yo in many years. Folks, if you have a yo-yo, let us know. We'd like to hear from you. See, they were waiting on me. I slipped up. They were waiting on me slip up. No days of the year. Karen,
Are you going to give us the days?
I hope you like the one I found, folks. I found a yo-yo. Tamara, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
All the best, Jamel. Bye.
All righty. Folks, don't go anywhere. Thanks so much for joining us so far. If you've appreciated the discussion and the news break, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take a quick break. We're coming back with our guest of the day, the director of the Bermuda Weather Service, Michelle Pitcher. We're talking about the 2023 hurricane season. Folks, this is an important conversation. You know what I always say when it comes to hurricanes. Put your arrogance aside. Stop, liquor stores open, having a hurricane party. Take it seriously. Take it seriously. The world is changing, and as we'll discuss, hurricanes are becoming more powerful. This is a conversation that we all need to have our pens out, our papers, or even our tablets or phones and get to typing and taking some notes. Things are changing. We want to be prepared, not caught off guard. Be right back after this.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's.
th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We have the director of the Bermuda Weather Service, Michelle Pitcher. Let's give her a warm TDH welcome, like only we know how. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. It's just me. They left me alone today, and I think I did pretty well. I didn't get in any trouble, and you know.
You haven't gotten into any trouble yet.
Uh-oh. Sounds like you're going to help me do that. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right. Well, no, thank you so much for coming on. We always love to have important community conversations on this show, and we believe that hurricanes are an important part of what we should be discussing. Not just because it's the beginning of hurricane season, but just storms in general. We did, if my memory serves me correctly, have some activity in the Atlantic in like January or February, which was unusual, right? So, but before we get into that, just tell the audience a bit about yourself and your background.
All right. Well, I joined the Bermuda Weather Service in January of 2008. I trained as a meteorological technician, so that's an observer. And I went to the UK to learn forecasting. And I've just slowly been moving around to different roles. And now, as of February this year, I am the director of the Bermuda Weather Service.
Congratulations. In 2008, you've been there for a time, so she knows what she's talking about. You know what you're talking about. So as you heard me say earlier, you may have heard me say, and folks, if you have any questions or comments for Michelle Pitcher, just feel free to send them as usual. It's been reported, as I mentioned earlier, that we can expect a normal hurricane season this year. But I don't think people quite understand what that means. Like, there were people actually celebrating this as if that means, oh, no hurricane. Just explain what that means for the layman.
Certainly. So we're having a near normal or average hurricane year, according to the National Hurricane Center. And all that really means is that we're going to have the average number of storms for the whole season. So right now the outlook is 12 to 17 named storms, with 5 to 9 of them becoming hurricanes and 1 to 4 of them becoming major hurricanes. Now we have, for the past several years, have rather active seasons, of course, where we've been even running out of names and had to go to the Greek alphabet. So I can understand people being a little bit happier or breathing a sigh of relief that the season is now a bit near normal. However, even if the season was, below normal, even if there was only one hurricane that happened the whole season, if that hurricane happened on you, then you're not going to be so happy and you're not going to think that it was a quiet season. So while we do expect the average amount of storms to be occurring, it really only takes one to affect anyone. It only takes one to make it a busy season.
Yeah. And I think that's the point. Thank you for so eloquently explaining that, folks. All it takes is one hurricane. And I understand, again, like you said, the celebration that it's not going to be, what was it, last year or year before, when we ran out of letters, like you just said it, we ran out of names. We had to go to the Greek alphabet. I think it was 2020.
Yeah, it was 2020. It was one of the active years. 30 storms. My goodness.
Wow. Well, and again, I guess, at 12 to 17, that's much better, comparatively speaking. But again, we must keep in mind that doesn't mean that if it was one storm, it might not put us in line. Let's switch gears a bit, because again, just doing some reading and trying to understand. I'm obviously based in South Florida, which were impacted by hurricane season very much so. But there have been reports about El Nino, right? And I still, from the life of me, can't understand what that exactly means. But it's basically, just explain what El Nino means and how it impacts the Atlantic hurricane season.
Well, I understand El Nino is a little bit difficult to understand because it's a climate and global scale, very large scale event. So we're used to smaller things that we can see, fronts passing, a thunderstorm in the area, things like that. Even hurricanes are a little bit small scale when we think about our climatological processes. El Nino is a plume of unusually warm ocean water that comes off the northwestern coast of South America and kind of off of southern Central America. This plume of very unusually warm water stretches out into the Pacific Ocean. Now, this area is so large and the water is so significantly warmer, what it does is disrupt global circulation. So think about the Earth, and there's lots of global circulation patterns around the Earth. And so this area of warmer water, when we have what we call the El Nino event, actually disrupts that circulation. Now, when that circulation is disrupted by El Nino, it changes patterns into the Atlantic Ocean. So this is an event happening in the Pacific, but it is so large and widespread in repercussions, it affects everything in the Atlantic. So in a nutshell, what El Nino does in the Atlantic, it increases what we call wind shear. And I always get puzzled looks for wind shear, and I understand because we don't really think too much about the atmosphere as a whole because we have the surface, but we have the atmosphere going all the way above us. And wind shear, if you think about a pot of boiling water or smoke from a campfire, if there's no wind or anything to disturb it, you have your smoke just going up in a nice, neat column. However, if somebody waves their hand nearby or if there's wind, then you see that nice column of steam or smoke get disrupted. And that's basically what wind shear is, except on a larger global scale when we talk about wind shear over the Atlantic Ocean. It's a change in wind speed as you go higher in the atmosphere, or a change in wind direction as you go higher in the atmosphere. A tropical cyclone is just like that column of smoke or steam. It wants to be stacked on top of itself and form in this lovely little spinning column of air. However, if we have a lot of wind shear, it's going to disrupt that structure, and it's not going to be able to form or strengthen as it normally would. So that's one thing that El Nino does. It increases the wind shear across the Atlantic Ocean. It also increases the trade winds. So again, stronger winds means that we can't make that column for the tropical cyclones. It gets disrupted as it blows around. And overall, it creates a little bit more of a settled atmosphere over the Atlantic Ocean. Now, when we say settled, think high pressure, think descending air. High pressure, things are a bit calmer and warmer and drier. Whereas when we have showers or thunderstorms or hurricanes, you need rising air to bring the moisture from the surface to the atmosphere to build the clouds that we see bubbling up on our warm summer days.
That is also fascinating. Like it, wow. I mean, because I'm reading and I'm just like, well, how does this impact this? But that brings us to, I guess, the controversial conversation, at least over in these parts. Global warming, climate change. I don't understand it. I'm very clear about that. It's just not something I've read about enough or studied to understand. But does this impact everything that you just said? Does it play a role in El Nino taking place?
Oh, it certainly does. Yeah. Climate change takes place upon what's referred to as decadal scales at the very least. So that means over ranges of tens of years. Climate change is, long in duration. It's not like tomorrow it's going to be extra hot or extra dry or extra cold. It's really the change in trends over many, many years. And like we saw back in October of 2001, we had Major Hurricane Sam pass Bermuda as a Category 4 hurricane. And just last year, we had Hurricane Fiona approach us as a Category 4 hurricane, and it weakened just enough to be a Category 3 as it passed Bermuda, but then re-intensified to Category 4. I mean, that clearly shows that as the trends continue, we need to start being prepared for even stronger hurricanes that are coming up into our area.
Yes, speak to us about that. Speak to us, because obviously science has shown that the hurricanes are stronger. They're getting stronger and stronger. How can we prepare for stronger storms, and what should we expect them to continue being as strong as they've been?
We just need to prepare as we always do. Bermuda is very resilient. It was especially notable last year. Some of the international interviews I did, especially with Hurricane Fiona, they were quite disappointed when they're wondering what the impacts were. I'm sure expecting something like we see other places where you have a lot of destruction and flooding. But Bermuda is very resilient. And we just need to remember that we've been through these hurricanes before, and we just need to always be prepared. Because again, it only takes one hurricane to make it a busy season for us.
Thank you so much for saying that. And we'll get into the EMO and Bermuda Weather Service. Folks, we'll get to your questions as well. Well, let's just take this one. Karen Simmons, she says, with the increase of ocean temperatures globally and specifically in the Gulf Stream, how does that affect storms and hurricanes more frequently in Bermuda?
Well, one of the main fuels for hurricanes, tropical storms, is the warm sea surface temperatures. So again, the warmer the oceans, the deeper that warmer temperature goes in the ocean, just means that there's a lot more fuel available to allow tropical storms to intensify and for these stronger hurricanes to sustain themselves in northern latitudes where they might not have been before.
Mm-hmm. And let's speak to lately. There's been a lot of rain in Bermuda, right? I think that's been the topic of conversation a lot. Can you just explain what does that mean? Like what's happening? Why? People. I don't know. You obviously would. People are saying this is unprecedented. What has led to this, and should we expect to see more periods like this?
Well, in isolation, this is an unusual event. And unless we start seeing a continual trend over the several years of increased rain, especially this time of year, that's when we can start to infer things from it. But right now, just with our unusual weather, we've had a lot of low pressure systems just kind of stationary between us and the U.S. East Coast. And that's just been drawing up an unusual amount of tropical moisture. And it's just inundated us for the past several weeks now.
I want to get back to the hurricanes. So a lot of questions. People have their own theories about hurricanes starting off the coast of Africa and making their way west, right? What's the science behind that? I guess the usual paths of hurricanes.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the points as to why we're going to right now expect to have an average hurricane season. So while we do have El Nino that's expected to occur and strengthen over the summer, which does decrease the amount of hurricanes in the Atlantic Ocean, we also expect a stronger West African monsoon season. And what that's going to balance out El Nino because think about low pressure centers, low pressure systems. We got all these lows that go around the world. They bring all of our heavier, wetter weather. Once we have these low centers, if it's more active coming off that west coast of Africa, that's already circulation in existence. And so then when they enter the Atlantic Ocean, it's a bit easier for them to continue to intensify into tropical cyclones because again, they already exist. There's no little waves or anything that then need to be built up into a tropical cyclone. So we can expect to see a lot more tropical waves coming off of West Africa this year. And that's going to be one of the factors that's balancing out the effects of El Nino.
Interesting. I'm getting a lesson today. Let's switch gears a bit. Obviously, when we're okay, so I know there's tropical storm warning, hurricane warning. What are the different levels? And at those levels for Bermuda, when does the EMO and who makes up the EMO? When does the EMO decide, okay, it's time to prepare for this level or that level? Just speak to us a bit about the levels and then the EMO and the responsibilities that they have.
So at the center of the EMO is the Disaster Risk Reduction and Mitigation Team. So they're the ones that we directly communicate with. And before anything is even named as a tropical cyclone in the Atlantic Ocean, anything that the National Hurricane Center is watching, because they do have areas that they watch before they've even developed into cyclones, we are already in communication with them. We let them know what the forecasts are. We let them know our confidence in the forecasts and how likely it is for anything to form near our area and where it's actually going to go, how close to Bermuda it will be going. This notification consists of emails, phone calls, meetings, and we just work very closely with them as the situation continues to evolve.
And the members that make up that are in the police, regiment, and what else?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'm not part of it.
Okay, no problem. Got you. And as far as like, what's the difference between a tropical storm warning, hurricane warning, the different levels that you report?
Yeah, so ideally we have our watches first for either a tropical storm or a hurricane. And that means there's a possibility when we have a watch of tropical storm or hurricane force winds affecting the area within the next 48 hours. Now, a watch means that there's a possibility. A warning means that it's going to happen, and that's issued within 36 hours, I believe. And then just really the names, tropical storm versus hurricane, that just talks to us about the wind strength.
Okay. And just if real quickly before we transition, what are the wind strengths? So it's the lowest would be tropical depression, correct?
Yeah, tropical. So the tropical storm starts at 35 knots. So any low pressure system that has tropical characteristics that's still below 34 knots sustained is called a tropical depression. 34 to 64 to 63 knots is a tropical storm. Our Category 1 hurricane starts at 64 knots sustained. Category 2 is 83 knots sustained. Category 3, which is also where we start calling hurricanes major hurricanes, that begins at 96 knots sustained. Category 4 is 113 knots sustained. And then finally, the Category 5 starts at 137 knots sustained winds. And it's a very key point that it's sustained winds, means that they're steady. Of course, there's gusts usually embedded in these tropical cyclones, so we can temporarily see winds much stronger.
Gotcha. Tamara McHale's asking, I've seen theories that weather is being manipulated by greater powers. Is there truth to the possibility or just a conspiracy?
Well, if it is, then they're certainly not listening to Bermuda's pleas for a little bit of drying out.
Right. Before you go, just tell us what obviously Bermudians and Bermuda resilient. We've been blessed. Our ancestors built us some strong homes and buildings, and we have, I guess, the right blueprint, right, as far as our structure. But over the years, you've seen people take for granted, because Bermuda traditionally, outside of Hurricane Fabian, if I'm not mistaken, there really has not been much loss of life from hurricanes, really structural damage. But what advice would you give Bermudians? It is an average hurricane season we're expecting, but as you stated, storms are stronger. Like, what advice would you give them just to, be prepared, not to be arrogant, not to get caught off guard?
What I would tell everybody is, now that we're in tropical season, just make it a habit to check Bermuda Weather Service website for latest conditions. Check the National Hurricane Center website for latest conditions. Just make it part of your routine. You check the news, you check your email. You just have to add a couple other things to check, just so you keep yourself informed of what may or may not be out there. And of course, it's much easier to prepare when conditions are quiet and when you don't have half the island trying to buy supplies and you got to see where the batteries are and things like that. Just prepare now. Look at your yard, make sure that you can easily put things away, and whatever preparations you normally would do before a tropical storm or hurricane. Much easier to prepare now than, when we know it's coming in a few days.
Yeah, I think, and Tamara McHale shared during the news break, if you got hedges and trees, you know what hurricanes do with them. Do what you've got to do to keep yourself and your community safe. Michelle, unless there's something else you'd like to share, thank you so much for joining us and sharing the information. Please let us know if there's anything common that you want us to communicate with our audience and the general public. Please just reach out. We are here for you. And again, you are welcome back anytime to share updated information, not just about hurricanes, but climate and weather in general.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure being on your show.
No problem. Have a great day, Michelle.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, Michelle Pitcher from the Bermuda Weather Service spoke about hurricane season. If you appreciated the conversation, found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Please make sure that you share this information with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Folks, Rosalind Famous says it right here. Make sure you've got your batteries, your non-perishables. That's like canned foods, water, and generators. But I tell you what, with those generators, know how to work them, read the directions, be safe. All right. Again, if you appreciated today's conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We have a giveaway coming up. To the first person, and keep in mind, folks, just because you think you're first, let me just make this clear. Whatever shows up on our screen first is what we put. You don't see what people may be writing on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or our website. So whatever we see, that's first. That's what we put as call first. All right. Just so some people think they are first when they respond. That's not the case. All right. So stick with us. We're going to come right back after this. Very important, Aaron Smith. Thank you for this. She said also stock up on prescriptions and medicines. Yes. Yes. We're going to take this quick break, come back. We've got the daily play, and then we're going to wrap it up. The good thing about the daily play today is that Sherry, Larry, and Sanja can't get it wrong. Stick with us. Stick with us.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next-day delivery or same-day pickup. Our ever-expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again to Michelle Pitcher from the Bermuda Weather Service. Again, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, found the information helpful, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these important community conversations with you on a daily basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Audience, I need a response. Are you ready for today's Daily Play? Can I get a yes in the audience? We'll go with a yes. Can I get a yes? Can I get a yes? Are you ready? Are you ready for your opportunity to win a $25 gift voucher? We already have two winners today. Nicole Walker walked away with 50. Jamaica Smith, she walked away with 25. Now it's your turn. All right, check Laverne Tucker. She's on the dailyhour.com commenting. All right, so we've got Michelle. Yes. Yolanda, yes. NTS, yes, yes. All right, everyone's ready. Everyone's ready. All right, here it is. First person to answer this correctly. You got to be fast. Michelle Pitcher is going to be proud of this question. It's a remember when. What year did Hurricane Emily hit Bermuda? Nope, it's not 86. It's Rosalind, you got it. 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 Rosalind Famous got it. It's 1987. Yes. September 25th, 1987. Unexpected and fast moving. Category 1 Hurricane Emily made landfall in the early morning, bringing with her destructive winds, water spouts, and tornadoes. Of the 2,500 homes damaged during the storm, 200 reported roof damage. Losses were estimated at the time of $35 million, and over 100 people reported storm-related injuries. Rosalind, you know what to do. Send us a message at engage@thedailyhour.com to pick up your belongings. Well, you all came out 86, 89. No, it was definitely in 87. It was definitely 1987. Rosalind's just looking. She says, I was on it. Folks, let's wrap up today's conversation. Let me just go. We've got some information from Michelle. So, folks, and we'll put it on our Instagram and our social media handles. Hurricane preparedness information. The link, we'll just share it right here for you in the comments so that you all have that handy. And we'll probably put it on our website. So it's going to be gov.bm/department/emergency measures-organization. So you can find that wherever you're tuned in, you can click that link. So thank you so much again to Michelle Pitcher. Let's wrap up today. So final thoughts. As far as Morgan's Point land, like I said, I appreciate all the responses on Instagram and here this morning. I think we need to be creative. I don't think we can just think hotel, hotel, hotel. We need to think hotel and. Bermuda does not have much room. When you compare Bermuda with other destinations, Turks and Caicos, or even Jamaica, these places have a lot of land to grow, leverage. We don't have that. We need to leverage Morgan's Point to get the most out of that land. Whether that means moving our docks up there and creating a waterfront experience in Hamilton, whether that means creating an amphitheater and shops like someone suggested, or a multi-purpose convention center. It could even mean giving it to GenCom to build their units there instead of one from Mount Southampton property and down at Rosewood Talkers Point area. Whatever it is, I think there must be a better way. There has to be. There has to be. You know, folks, it's time for the daily inspiration. So what I'm going to do right now is, like I forgot the days of the year, is I'm going to get you an inspirational quote. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you an inspirational quote. And let's go, because I can't leave you hanging. I can't leave you. You're going to talk about me. And here's the inspirational quote of the day, brought to you by ER Fisheries and Foods. The inspirational quote of the day is, if you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life. And that is Marcus Garvey. Have some confidence, believe in yourself. Give yourself a chance to fail. Give yourself a chance to fail. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day, folks. Appreciate you, Auntie Karen. She says, great job today, Jamel, and keeping it tight. Didn't get into any trouble, but I missed that. See, I didn't get in any trouble. Thank you. Michelle White says, I think your three co-hosts should be given really hard questions for leaving you to run the show. Yeah, oh yeah. They ditched me, folks. Wait till I tell you the story. I'm going to tell you the story. Yeah, they said no. He wants to be over it, make him go out there himself. I'm joking. Love him. And I can't wait to have, I think, his sister Sherry with me tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'll check the schedule. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for hanging with me. See you. Have a great day.